here it comes. Here it comes. Masters of the Universe, the motion picture, is a 1987 American superhero film directed by Gary Goddard. What just probably one of the most influential directors around, Brad. Don't you think?
So
Like
much.
just
So
a
much.
superior talent. The film stars, really, it's just a who's who of Hollywood. Dolphin Lundgren, Frank Langella, John Cypher. Oh my God, the great Chelsea Field. Just how many Oscars would that woman have? I don't know. Billy Barry, no, Billy Barty, even better. Courtney Cox, never heard of her. Robert Duncan McNeil. Oh my God, just a superior talent, Brad. Superior talent.
Which one of these names you've mentioned is the angry principal in the high school in Back to the Future?
I don't know.
The bald-headed guy.
Is that Billy Barty?
Maybe we'll go with that. If we're wrong and he's dead and you're part of his estate, all correspondence can be sent to fuckyyoucunt@hotmail.com.
Yeah, Billy Barty. Is it?
Oh, bald-headed Billy Barty.
Billy, just going through the red bar.
He's getting Google alerts now as we speak.
Oh no, Billy Barty was a dwarf. No, okay, but he was
played,
bald. That helps.
He played not Orko. Yeah.
Meg Foster. Oh, also in this. It's based on a Mattel toy line of the same name and tells the story of two teenagers who meet He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe.
Yeah.
Masters of the Universe was released theatrically in the United States on August 7th, 1987. It was a critical and commercial failure. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Grossing 17 million worldwide against a budget of 22 million. It is now regarded as a classic cult film. For reasons.
For reasons.
We shall discuss. Yeah.
Yeah, we will.
So you're obviously the Masters of the Universe aficionado. You own many toys.
I have been known to have a few pieces of plastic, both free from the plastic cage and in package. Yep.
So you buy one for display, one for play, and one for an investment. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Well, actually, no. I just get one for nostalgic joy, and then the financial joy that comes with it is just added benefit. You know, when you see the prices of those toys, woo.
So you're making tens of thousands of dollars on these things.
Wow, you're making tens of hundreds of dollars.
Have you?
You're making tens of dollars. Tens of. I don't know. Like, look,
what's your biggest profit?
If you want to start talking a value of He-Man toys, we'll go originals, not the re-release things that are coming out. Actually, no. Let's go. My most valuable one, the two that I have, are made by a company called Super 7, and they're the ultimate He-Man and Skeletor. I purchased them for a whopping $50 US doll hairs, and now they're on eBay for between $500 and $600 US doll hairs, and I think that's atrocious for a modern toy that only came out in the last 3 years.
Really?
But it brings me great joy. I love looking at the toy, and then I love also thinking that's making me bank. That's the sweet joy of it all.
So you're keeping them mint in the box?
They are. They're mint in the mailer box. Yeah, it's extra nerd. So there's an outer box around the box. I do pull them out and look at them though. So yeah. For the uninitiated in the early 80s, and look, we know our demographic. It's generally men, and you're generally in your 30s and 40s. right? So you know what we're talking about. Master of the Universe toys came out early 80s. I have the power.
Generally quite poor as well.
Well, that's the listeners, though. That's why they listen to us, because they want to achieve our level of don't open the toyness. Yeah.
Poor and living unfulfilled lives.
Yeah, yeah. And when we were all youngsters in the early 80s, you were into several things. And it may have been more than one of these or just one, depending on how financially well off your parents were. You had Transformers,
Oh, yeah.
G.I. Joes,
Dumb.
and Masters of the Universe. Right? I think that's about it.
Oh, was Thundercats. There was Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars was earlier than that, I think. Wasn't that like late 70s?
I had my Star Wars toys.
Jedi. Yeah.
I like Star Wars, Thundercats, and Transformers. Yeah.
Okay, I've got a big bag
I was
of
a cool
Thundercats,
kid, I must admit.
take that off my hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I have a massive bag, and I'm about to sell them because they're worth megabucks, and they just sit in my to sell box. So I'll bring them over next time I come around, and you can touch them and have some nostalgia. You can touch my
Thunder Tank. I got a Thunder Tank.
Do you?
Original.
Oh. Well, I don't know. Let's see what it's worth before I ask you if I can buy it off you. Do you?
Double. Yeah.
Wow.
Got a Thunder Tank.
Amazing. Well, look, I'll bring round my Lion-O and my Chitara, and we'll put them in the Thunder Tank. And we'll have a riot. But we're not here to talk about Thundercats, are we?
No. Well.
We were trying to
Master
segue ourselves into why the Master of the Universe movie came into being. These toys, they were everywhere. Like from I think it's 81, the first wave came out. He-Man, Skeletor, those dudes. Just if you're unaware of this franchise, you're an idiot. And B, they're just like muscle-bound 5.5-inch plastic toys, right?
He-Man was originally a Conan doll, wasn't he? And then it all fell apart, and they just said, let's call it He-Man. I don't know.
Yeah,
what the fuck?
that's the myth. So no one at Mattel is officially saying that, because I think there's some, legal matters still underway there. The brown-haired He-Man. But there are a few figures out there. They call them Savage He-Man or Wonder Bread He-Man. And it's a brown-haired He-Man with black loincloth. And he's worth mega bucks. This is the thousands of dollars for an original Wonder Bread He-Man. But yes, then they made him blonde and put him out. And everybody bought squadrillions of them. And honestly, for 5 years, like from 81 to 86, these were making Mattel megabucks. This was the top tier toy line. Smashed Barbie, smashed Hot Wheels, crushed G.I. Joe. This was the tits. It was like warrior Barbies for boys, right? You could change their little armors and swords. And anyway, so they got to the peak of He-Man-ness. And they thought, well, let's, Transformers put out a film. We can put out a film too. And that's what we're here to discuss. Now, do you remember this film coming out when you were a wee kid?
Yep. Remember the trailers. I didn't see it in theaters. No, I saw it on TV years later.
Oh, right.
When I was in my teenage years. Yeah.
Oh, too poor to go to the cinema, or you just didn't go?
Didn't really care, and too poor.
Oh.
Well, my parents had money, but they did not spend the money, and I certainly didn't get any of it. Yeah,
it's wise. Well, they're probably living in a great retirement now, right?
They're driving around in electric Mustangs, living the good fucking life.
Yeah, fuck you, son. I'm saving up for my old age. Yeah.
I suffered and never had anything good in my life.
Well, it sounds like you had a fucking Thunder Tank, so they're doing all right.
Yeah, I had a Thunder Tank. That's true.
Yeah. We had, when I was a kid, again, segue back to the toys, me and my older brother, that was our jam. We had boxes of these fucking things. Like, we were He-Man Mecca. We had the castles, we had all the vehicles and all the figures. It was super rad. And so now I'm spending my adulthood trying to recollect all those toys I had when I was a kid because they all got thrown out, of course.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Tragic.
It was tragic. They didn't
Must
just
been
get thrown out in
tears.
the dump. They were thrown on a literal fireplace and melted and burnt to a crisp, along with a box full of mask toys. A box
Did someone
full of
yell at you?
Thundercats.
You're a man now, boy. Don't cry. What was it?
No,
Being a pussy. You'll grow out of it.
Me and my brother had left home. I'm sure this is a very familiar case to our listeners. You leave home and you leave all your shit at your parents' place, whether it's in your old room or under a staircase or in the basement or whatever. And then your parents go, well, those cunts aren't coming back. I need this fucking space. And so they take your precious toys and burn them. And to be fair, good on them. Like it's their house. Empty my shit out. If I wanted it back then, I should have grabbed it, right? But when you're in your 20s, you don't give a shit. I mean, fucking most people in their 40s don't give a shit about toys. But when I was in my 20s, I was like, okay, whatever. Kid stuff. But now that I'm older, I'm like, fuck, I wish I had those things. Because we had the stuff.
My toys. Oh, my toys.
You've still got most of yours in the fucking box from when you were a kid, don't you? Like the ones.
Well, my mum
like
kept it
Jetfire
all. My mum loved me. She kept them all, and then when I moved out, she said, "Come and get your shit."
Oh.
I'm throwing it out. And I was wise. I came and got my shit.
Yeah, you got some warning. See, I came home to get my shit, and it was burnt. Yeah, that's real parenting.
Well, at least it didn't destroy the atmosphere.
Yeah. Or it's better to burn it than to put it in landfill, if you ask me. It's going to rot the soil where you grow your food. Nah, let's put it in the air. There's plenty of air. It'll all be fine.
Okay, yeah. And quite frankly, things are warmer now, so our electricity bills are gone down.
Yeah, that's it. Absolutely. I'm thinking about everybody. It's a global problem. We all want to be warmer. Where were we? Anyway, the toy line.
Can we talk about the film? Because I'm a bit bored about your toys right now. To be honest, like, Jesus, ramble.
We're getting there.
Man, baby.
Hey, I'm excited.
Baby.
It's finally a subject that I can man baby out on. Anyway, toys are at the peak. Let's make a film. And 87 was absolute peak of the toys. And they thought, we make a film, we're going to sell even more toys.
Well, my trivia I found is that Mattel mandated that He-Man was not allowed to kill or do anything immoral in this movie. Parts had to be rewritten. And then the toy line started dipping in popularity. And so Mattel changed its mind and said, okay, you can kill some stuff.
Yeah, to be blunt, after this film came out, 87, the toy line was gone. It just plummeted off a cliff. Nobody bought it anymore. I don't know what the replacement was. Maybe 89 was Ninja Turtles. That was huge. Early 90s, those toys.
What I want to know is, like, you get Skeletor and He-Man and you get Evil Lyn.
Mm-hmm.
But all the other characters got replaced. Was that a budget thing? What was going on?
Again, they wanted new characters to make new toys. So they'd sold all the He-Mans and Teelas and Evil Lyns. So they thought, we've got a film coming out. Let's put in new characters like Blade and Sauron, and we'll sell their toys.
Okay.
But even that didn't work.
Was the Courtney Cox a big seller?
There was no Courtney Cox toy. So from the film, get this shit. From the film, they didn't even make a He-Man and a Skeletor. How fucked is that? All right. So from the film, you got what was the name? Gwildor, the little not Orko guy. You got Gwildor, Blade, and Sauron.
They made toys?
They made toys in the vintage line. Yeah.
Which one's Sauron? Was that the one with
lizard
the hair
guy.
all blown back? The lizard
guy.
Didn't he die early?
Yeah, he did. He got disintegrated by Skeletor. Yeah.
What the fuck did they make that one for?
Exactly. Yeah. Beastman was in there. He was a classic. They had Beastman. and Evil Lynn, Tila
That
Man at
wasn't
Arms. Yeah.
Beastman though, was it? It was another
Yeah, it was.
character.
No, they called him Beastman. Yeah.
Okay.
On the rewatch. I didn't think they did either, but on the rewatch, I was like, oh, yeah, they call him Beastman. But yeah, I mean, to talk about the film, to get away from the toys, I remember seeing it in 87. I remember going to the cinema and loving it. Just like, He-Man, nom, 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 nom. Lap it up. Right? Dolph Lundgren was the perfect actor, muscle-bound, blonde, loincloth, you know. Skeletor looks scary.
Swedish. Can't
Swedish,
speak English.
Yeah. Loved it. Loved it all. Loved the final battle. I was there. I was just, right in it. And then I couldn't understand why the toys went away, right? I was the kid that was like, keep this shit going. And then, years later, when you get back into it, you think, oh, fuck, I remember loving that film. And I chucked it on. This is a while back. And couldn't really, as soon as they went to Earth, I was like, why the fuck are they going to Earth? Why did they go to Earth?
Cutbacks. They couldn't afford it.
Yeah, we can film in this high school, not on Eternia. Yeah. So you see, watching it again, you see the budget and you see the limitations. But then rewatching it this time.
How expensive would it have been to be on Eternia? Like, you could have just filmed in the desert. Yeah. You could have filmed a bit of the woods.
Yeah.
And gone, we're on Eternia. I can understand they cut out Battle Cat because of budget and that kind of stuff. But it's like, you don't have to go to Earth at all. There's no.
And they wanted kids to think, oh, I could meet He-Man in real life, I suppose. But, oh, yeah, it's atrocious. And rewatching it again now, it is still kind of atrocious, but it was more fun. Not fun in a chopping mall kind of fun, but I still found it like 80s entertaining. Does that make sense?
It does have a charm. In reading online, people saying it's got a charm.
It's a good term. I liked how Dolph Lundgren couldn't say his lines, so they overdubbed him with another actor's voice, and yet that actor's voice is still shit at saying the lines.
No, they were going to overdub him. But he had a contract saying that they had to use his voice, so he overdubbed himself.
That explains a lot.
But he's barely in the movie. That's another thing. It's really, he shows up, has a bit of a fight, disappears for a while, and you're kind of left with Courtney Cox. He-Man shows up, disappears, Courtney Cox. Yeah, some bullshit about a musician. He thinks it's a Japanese synthesizer for some freaking reason.
Well, look, they were going for that My Science Project, Back to the Future, mid-80s, got to have a teen in a high school vibe. Get it. Understand what Canon was going for. But
cheap.
Yeah, cheap. Yeah, didn't need it.
Apparently they had a lot of problems. Like Mattel were supposed to contribute to the budget and then were quite late. And there was days when they weren't allowed to shoot. Because no money were there, so they kind of sat around and wasted days. And apparently,
you've got a point. You go right ahead. We're talking over
the director Gary Goddard was very inspired by Jack Kirby, who did all the Marvel stuff, a lot of it. And he said that Skeletor was his dark side.
Yeah,
he was very inspired by those kind of comics and stuff.
Of all the things in the film, I think Skeletor's done perfectly. If they'd done a dark Eternia film or bigger budget, I think Skeletor still stands up.
Frank Langella as Skeletor is a pure joy. He's what do you say? It's a big, broad performance, but it's fun and fits and works, and he's good to watch every scene he's in.
It's like chewing this. Is it what this phrase they say? Chewing the scenery. He's just in it, just lapping it up.
He's going for gold and loving every second of it, and he's doing it. He's a good actor. He's doing it well.
Yeah, I remember seeing an interview with him saying it was one of his favorite roles to play because he worked so hard at it, and he got buffed up thinking it was He-Man. Like he went to the gym and he worked out and he got into the best shape of his life.
Yeah.
And then when he went to try on the costumes, he was just covered and nobody saw his muscles.
Yeah, I saw that interview. He was stacked. Apparently, he was ripped,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
And
they put a cloak
the
over
only
him.
other little bit of trivia that I've got that I found fascinating, and again on rewatching makes sense, is they're making this film and they know they got fuck all budget because it's a canon film, and as you said, Mattel didn't put any money in, and they shot the film.
Well,
They
they
got
were
so
late.
far along. What's that? Oh, they paid, but they were late. All right.
Mm.
They got so far along, and then they ran out of money. Right, like we got zero money. And they'd filmed everything except the final battle scene, which was supposed to be the big, the big highlight. He-Man and God and Scally God, I think they call it,
Mm-hmm.
fighting. Right, we got no money, and so that was it. There was no more money, and they went. So they had to shoot it. So the director went in with the two actors and some like lights in a gymnasium and filmed the final battle. I thought that was fucking awesome.
Yeah, he
'Cause the
paid for
battle-
it himself. The
Yeah.
director.
I don't think it's too bad, It's stylistic choices. When I was a kid, I thought it was the fucking greatest thing ever.
Mm.
You just need some blue lights and clashing things and Star
Very-
Wars style electricity.
Very reminiscent of the final battle in Flash Gordon.
Oh yeah, or Highlander. So a little bit like Highlander as well. Just up close sword fighting, short and sharp. No beheadings though. Mm.
You know.
Mm.
And Skeletor pops his head out of the pit at the end. He goes, "Ah, not really dead."
Oh yeah. Oh, that was my first post credits scene. Set the scene for Marvel, and I remember when we had it on VHS, and I found that because I didn't see that at the cinema. Because who the fuck waits around in the cinema? You're a goddamn psychopath if you're sitting in the cinema through the credits back in the 80s. And that was my most paused moment. I got to the end and I saw it and I went, "What the fuck?" Rewound it, played it again, rewound it, played it again. I found it kind of scary. I'll be back. What was that?
You're kind of a wimp, to be honest.
Oh, I am.
Not
Yeah,
scary at all.
it's well established. Yeah.
Mm,
I mean, the darkness scares me.
yeah, I know. Yeah, you watch horror movies in the daylight and you can't
In
get
the
10
daylight, and I
minutes in.
still get scared. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, what else do I know about this? Oh, they're proposing to make a sequel while they're making this film as well.
Oh, nice.
And Dolph Lundgren didn't like the night shoots and he was a bit of a pussy as well. And he said, "No, I'm not coming back." And so they were going to get the surfer, something Laird, forget his first name. And the idea was that Skeletor comes to Earth and poses as a person to get close to a business entrepreneur to steal technology to take over the universe. And He-Man was going to pose as a football player to get close to them, which makes a lot of sense when you think about it.
Sounds fucking awful.
Could have been better than this one.
You know what I did learn though am I fucking remembering this right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember there was a sequel written for it, but then the thing flopped, and so they rewrote the sequel and it became Cyborg, which is I think it's a Stallone film or a Van Damme film. Maybe it's a Van Damme.
Right.
And that was apparently the sequel to Master of the Universe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I have to say, two highlights for me. What's the Man at Arms? Oh, Tila. Yeah. Good G string. That was good. And Meg Foster, pretty hot.
Who's Meg Foster? Was that Evil Lynn?
Yeah. Apparently, she had padding under her suit to make her boob bigger, which incredible. Well done. Great thinking.
You could do that in the 80s. Yeah.
Well done.
Well, and just for equality, who was the best looking of the guys? You've objectified the women. Now let's objectify the men.
He-Man had a great set of titties, didn't he?
He did. Well, I found it on the rewatch. Just to be frank, I found the Budgie Smugglers, his little undies,
Mm.
Very distracting on the rewatch. I just thought, how the fuck do you stand around all day in that costume and not feel like you should quit?
Well, you have an amazing body like Dolph Lundgren, and
Yeah.
basically every chick there's just wants to gobble your knob all day.
I don't know if they did. It seemed like he had a very small budgie smuggler. There was
Oh
a
no,
small
I
bird
think
in
they
there.
did.
A canary.
That's because he was just blowing his load in between takes,
Oh,
like
sure. Just,
7 or 8
just
times.
emptying the
Like he
sack.
was, em-
Yeah, right.
he was. Yeah, there was nothing there. He just had to build it back up
Okay.
again. The rest.
All right. Yeah. Well,
It's another true fact.
overall, for you,
Mm.
how did you feel watching this? Did you feel like this is up there in the classic '80s, lineup of films, or it's best left in the cult basket?
Well, full disclosure, I did watch this while enjoying another bottle of wine,
Mm.
and quite enjoyed it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it adds another 2 stars to any movie, really.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice bottle of white. Mm.
It's stupid, but you just sit there and watch it, don't you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, it's a film made of a fucking kid's toy line, right? So don't expect too much. And I mean, like, there's talk. There's always talk of a new Master of the Universe film, right? For the last 10 years, they've been saying it's happening. We've got a director. We've got a script. And then they fall away. And, we've got an actor. And then they fall away. And it just never comes together.
In hindsight, now that we've had the Kevin Smith cartoon Masters of the Universe a little bit in our rearview mirror,
Mm.
any good? Do you think that was any good?
The cartoon?
Mm.
Look, I need to rewatch it. I enjoyed it at the time. I found problems with it.
Yeah.
It was a bit woke in places that it didn't need to be. And He-Man was a bit sidelined.
Yeah.
But
First half's better than the second half, isn't it?
yeah, sure.
And it wasn't as bad as they said, but then, like you say, it did go a bit with He-Man.
Yeah. Again,
Power.
I'm happy for any content. All right, it's much like me with Star Wars. I'm just a blanket fan. Put anything out, I'll watch it. It might not be good. It might be bad. There might be good bits, bad bits, whatever. I'm going to watch it. Right? I'm just a, what do you call that? Fuck.
Just a sad
Gullible
whore.
idiot. Yeah. Sad
Yeah.
whore.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are properties that I'm sticking with thick or thin. And people do it with Ninja Turtles, and there's all sorts of variations of that. I haven't done that. People follow bands through good albums and bad albums. These are my properties that I follow. And Motu, as we say in the trade, is one of those. I'll watch any content. It's Motu.
So, if you're recommending this to a friend and you're doing a double feature, what would you pair this with?
Wow. The old double feature with Master of the Universe. So it's going to have to be another 80s action, though this might be early 90s. I thought, because Dolph Lundgren, he needed to be in it. It's a Dolph Lundgren double feature. And because we all love a bit of Van Damage, I'm pairing it up with Universal Soldier. One. Yeah. Classic.
I'm only going to pair this with a much superior 80s sci-fi classic, The Last Starfighter. Boom.
Ooh, excellent.
Bang.
It really should be a future episode. If you fucktards out there listening, all 27 of you, haven't seen The Last Starfighter, please go and do so. I'm sure it's on some streaming service, Prime maybe.
We'll do a watch along with our many, 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 many fans.
We should.
If it doesn't down the server,
It's a forgotten classic. It really is.
It's not forgotten. It's amazing. Everybody knows about it. It's terrific.
That almost had a toy line. That was the toy line that never happened. They made the prototypes. You had the main guy, you had the alien, and they made the starship, and then the copy guy, which looked like the lead guy. But they made the prototypes and that was it.
So over on IMDb, the cold-hearted bastards have given this a 5.3 out of 10.
Oh,
Tons of bitches. Reading the reviews, someone gave it a 10. Great fun. Someone gave it a 7. Perfect example of low-budget sci-fi goofiness, but holds a certain charm. Someone gave it a 5. Almost good enough cheese. And someone said 3. Unfortunately, a disappointment. But by Jingos, there were a lot of positive reviews on there. A lot of 10s and 8s you had to scroll through to find the bad ones. Crikey.
Crikey, Dick, master of the universe.
3 minutes left, Brad.
Oh.
How are you going to rate this out of 10?
Oh, it's a hard one because you got the nostalgia goggles, but I'm going to have to go through the rewatch now.
3 minutes or less, then I've got to contribute as well. Like, let's not fuck around like we always do. Come on.
Got a minute Jesus 50. Christ. Yeah. All right. I'm going to straight up give it, I'm going 7 Dolph Lundgren packages out of 10. 7. Because that gives you nostalgia and no nostalgia.
I'm going to give it 4 Evil Lynn boobs and a Tila G-string. It takes us to 5.
5. Yeah, look, that's fair. It's enjoyable, road, isn't it?
Not great, but
so if you came into it knowing nothing about the franchise or the toys, and you just went, "Oh, Master of the Universe, I'll check this out," I don't think you'd get fucking 20 minutes in without turning it off. Would you?
You need a good bottle of wine.
Right. Or 2.
Yeah.
Or a gin if you're a real man.
I felt that every time Skeletor came on, I perked up. I went, oh, Skeletor going to do. And also Tila's G-string and Evil Lynn and her boobs. Yeah.
Right. Do you remember that film Fire and Ice? The animated film?
I have that on DVD. Yeah.
Ooh. You see that?
Perfect movie.
Yep, that's kind of the Master of the Universe that I imagined, but I guess with less cartoon pornography than Fire and Ice.
Yeah, well, that's where Fire and Ice got it right, though, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, I guess.
Well done, Fire and Ice.
Yeah, good old Heavy Metal's a good one as well.
Yeah, 2 films that know what they're doing. Yeah,
yeah, made in a different time. Yeah. Okay. Well, great. I think we got through that one.
Yeah.
No segues. Kept it pretty on point.
Another perfect episode.
Producer Eric, he got emails from our higher ups, our head office, and we were told we waffle too much, and we need to be more concise.
Well, they didn't say we waffled too much. It was more you waffled too much, wasn't it?
Well, it's our show. But yes, my name may have come up more than yours.
I don't think my name was mentioned. No. Oh, except to say, why don't you shut up and let Dan talk more? For fuck's sake. I think that's right verbatim. Never mind.
All right.
Who's counting? Who's counting?
Yeah. Hit the drums, cunt.